What's up? Welcome to Hanging with Stats, episode number 3. This is a weekly recap show. This is my third week now. Obviously, episode 3. Basically, I recap the most previous No Prep Kings race. Also talk about maybe what show is going on at the time. I'm at the bar. I will join in when I can. Sounds good, Terry. So I recap the most previous race, whatever was on TV. I talk about it. Hey, Lorraine, how you doing? And then I also answer any questions you might have. I try to do the questions at the end. So there's some things I want to get through right away. I want to do my shout out. I always start with my shout outs. So I want to shout out my partners of the show. First of all, I want to shout out Nate Sailor Racing. Nate is in the invitational class this year. He is doing pretty good for being a future guy. He's doing pretty good. He's pretty fast out there. He's drawn some fast guys, so I think the chip draw luck will turn around for him, and he might start going some rounds. But shout out to Nate Sailor Racing. He is on Facebook, on Instagram. So if you can, go like his page. He posts videos and stuff like that. He's pretty up on his social media, so he's a good follow. So go follow him. How you guys doing? What's up, Chris, man? What's up, Matt? How you doing? I also want to give a shout out to No Prep Racing. Go to noprep.com. Rick is an awesome guy. He actually has a sub page on there, a Street Outlaws Stat Guy sub page on noprep.com. So check that out. He has a Facebook page. So No Prep Racing is his Facebook page. Check that out. He does all of No Prep news, not just Street Outlaws. So check him out. What's up, Greg? How you doing? Thank you, Ron. What's up, Big Cav? How you doing, buddy? I want to give a shout out to Ryan Martin for winning his first ever Outlaw Big Tire. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but regardless, obviously, you know, Ryan's been struggling, I guess. But it was good to see him go some rounds and win. I think he won 3 races to win the Outlaw Big Tire on Saturday. So shout out to him. First Outlaw Big Tire win. I also want to give a shout out to David Gates. I had David Gates on the show Tuesday night. Big shout out to him. He's such a good friend. Good guy to talk to. He's such a nice guy. And this year he is doing really good. So shout out to David Gates for coming on the show. Hey, David, how you doing? What's up, Chris? Hey, Scott. Travis, how you doing, man? I don't know if that question's for me or not. I am not drunk. Then I also want to give a shout out to 2 guys that help me when I am not at the races, when I cannot make it. Upshift 360, follow him on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and also Big Don Will, Hollywood Don Will, No Prep Travelers. Those 2 guys live feed, they stream the races. So they help me out when I can't make it, lets me get up-to-date stats. If it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be able to do the stats when I'm not at the races. So shout out to those guys. All right, first thing I really want to talk about, I see all your comments and stuff. If you have any questions, try to save them for the end, and I will answer all the questions I can. But looks like that, Lorraine. Looks like everybody's on Facebook. One thing I want to talk about is the most recent episode of Mega Cash Day. So it was the first episode of the season. Mega Cash Day is a double elimination tournament, just like the first one. We saw the first 16 car bracket. It started off. What's up, Chris? Thanks, man. We started off with boosted the very first race. Jim Howe, or not Jim Howe, Axeman versus Disco Dean. There was some controversy with the light. Ended up boosting up, getting punched in the face by Jim Howe. It was craziness from the start, man. So what I wanted to say about that was it's tough to be in Boosted's shoes there and make the correct call. I see it from both ways. I honestly do. You know, like at the end of the day, people will say if the light wasn't on, X-Man jumped. No matter if Boosted raised his hand and there's no light, he's got to wait for the light. But you got to think about the rhythm of how this all goes, right? There's never a time where any guy flagging a race with a flashlight raises it up and doesn't turn it on at some point, right? So it's kind of like a rhythm. You raise it up and it goes on at some point. Now he he could mess with you if he wanted to. He could raise it up, not turn it on, raise it down. He could do, you know what I mean? Like, so you got to get into technicalities if he raises it up and doesn't come on like it's supposed to. You know, it's kind of a rhythm thing. So all these drivers, all of them are expecting it. Arm comes up, the flashlight's going to come on. So it's tough because Boosted, you know, he didn't turn the light on, and it was his fault. He owned up to it like a man, and he decided to rerun it, and that's just what it is. At the end of the day, it's about the race master and what they're doing. You can get pissed off all you want and saying he made the bad call, but he's the one who has to make the call. No one else does. And in that case, he's either going to make the good call for one side and the other side's going to be pissed, or vice versa. There's no winning in that situation. So I'm glad to hear. I think Booster said it doesn't happen anymore this season. So that's good for him. And I know, you know, the whole fight or punching in the face, whatever, between him and Jim Howe, I thought it was hilarious. They obviously didn't get into like a big old brawl or nothing. So that was good. I'm not sure if they talk to each other to this day or not. As you know, as you remember, season 4 of No Prep Kings, I believe, Boosted and Jim kind of got into it about Jim supposedly breaking all the time and stuff like that. So I don't think there was some bad blood there anyway. And then it just, you know, it's the first race, Mega Cash Days. Everybody's hyped. A lot of big names there. So, and that's correct, Greg. At the end of the day, the race master makes the call, and that's the call. So you got to do it. You got to take it. But I see both sides, right? I do see both sides. So that was a hell of a way to start the show, though. Someone already get punched in the face. And then I don't know if you guys saw, there's an after-hour show. So that was a 2-hour show, and then after that, do an hour of after hours. I think it's pretty cool to see that stuff. I like to see more of the drivers do that kind of stuff, you know, because some of those guys are really funny, man. And when they get on TV in those after hours, you know, it's kind of entertaining. It reminds me kind of like the Farm Truck and Asian show where those guys just crack jokes, they rip on each other and stuff. So it's cool. I like the after show. It's cool. So I'm glad they're going to keep doing that. I think at least for another couple episodes. Booster can take a punch. Yeah, he did. He took didn't seem like it was a full punch, but he took a little hit from Jim Howe for sure. So it's going to be interesting, though. It was interesting that seemed like pretty much all of Memphis, besides like Dennis Bailey, were in that first bracket. I saw some comments online that it is rigged and all this shit. The show is not rigged. Okay, when you can't just rig a drawing. Okay, and then if it was rigged for Memphis to do good, you wouldn't put them all in one 16-car bracket, because some of them are going to be in the losing bracket then. If you wanted to rig it, you would separate them out. They would never race each other, and they would make it, you know, all 8 people would make it to the final 8. That's how you would rig it. So it's not rigged. They just happen to all draw each other towards us in the same 16-car bracket. So it is what it is. I think everybody won their first round, except JJ, because he jumped. But they're lucky JJ jumped, because JJ's car is flying. That Humminbird's always fast. So I'm not sure how he's going to finish. I didn't hear how he finished, but so he's out. He's already got 1 loss, so he's already in the losing bracket. But looks like it's going to be a good season. I'm excited to see how the actual small tire guys do against the Street Outlaws guys who are racing on small tires. Obviously, you know, Callie Nade and Bill Spain was on the first one, and those guys, like, they're really, really fast. So I'm interested to see how they do against guys like Ryan Martin and Kai and those guys, guys who don't normally race on small tires, but obviously they can race anything. So read some of your comments here. Discovery Plus. Yeah, I have Discovery Plus, but I have Discovery Go as well. So I don't know what's going on with Discovery Plus. I like it so I can watch on demand, but that's about it, because it seems like lately Discovery Plus doesn't show you the shows like they used to. You used to get them at the same time or even a day earlier, but I don't know. It's just good for on demand now. That's what it's all about. Tim, yeah. I wonder who's going to win. Anyway, all right, so let's get to the Minnesota race. Let's recap the Minnesota. I was there. It was supposed to rain Saturday, and I swear there was about 100 times where it looked like it was going to rain, and it didn't at all. I mean, it was hot. It was probably in the 80s, mid 80s. And then at some point, in the afternoon on Saturday, it got like cool. Felt like it dropped 20 degrees, and it got windy. And I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to storm. And nothing came from it. I felt like a couple raindrops, and that was it. So I think it just missed Brainerd. Thank God they don't have lights, so you got the whole show through in time. And it was a great weekend of racing, really was. So I'm going to recap what happened. Friday night was the grade 8. In the first round of the grade 8, Jim Howe beat Kyle Canyon. David Gates beat Kai Kelly. Now, there was a little controversy there, and it didn't blow up like I thought it was going to blow up. I'm not going to get into it totally, but there was a little controversy with that race. Gates, supposedly Kai's front end might have been a little too high at the finish line, but I didn't see any video evidence or anything like that. They were kind of joking around about it. So a win's a win. Gates got the win, and it wasn't like Gates isn't fast right now. So Gates earned that win. Then Axeman beat Damon, and Giuseppe beat Lizzie. That was a big win for Giuseppe in that grade 8. So then second round, we saw David Gates beat Axeman, and Giuseppe took out Jim Howe. So the final of the grade 8, we saw David Gates and Giuseppe, and David Gates ended up beating Giuseppe to win his first career event. That was his first career finals he was in. Giuseppe had been in the finals already, I believe, won. He lost to Ryan Martin like season 4, something like that, season 3 maybe. So that was David Gates' first career event win. It was awesome for him. I was happy for him. And then the total points now on the grade 8 total points. So, damn, I was going to make some slideshows to put this up while I'm talking about it, but maybe next time. So the grade 8 points are tied right now. 2 people are tied for first. Ryan Martin has 10, and David Gates has 10. There are 2 people tied for third place. Giuseppe and Kai Kelly are both tied for third place in the grade 8. And then there are 4 people tied for 5th place in the grade 8. Axeman has 3 points, Chuck 55 has 3 points, Jim Howe has 3 points, and Kayla has 3 points. So, yeah, so Ryan Martin, David Gates are your leaders right now for the grade 8, which is also the individual championship. Let's talk about Saturday's events. As you know, I had posted them. I'm not going to talk about them now, but there was a hell of a race your way in class. And some big names didn't get in from Friday night. Obviously, Brian Martin didn't get in. Dave didn't get in. So they were just chilling. I know Dave didn't. I don't know if Dave was in the outlaw or not, but Ryan obviously was in the outlaw. So Dave did race in the locals only. He did race against the guy who won the locals only. So the locals only is still doing that this year. Obviously, we just saw the first season of it completed last week. But they are continuing to do the locals only again for season 2. So let's see. The main event, which was Saturday, the Invitational. First round, we saw Robin Roberts beat Jerry Bird. Murder Nova took out Bobby. Swanstrom is back to his winning ways. He took out Brandon James. Callie Mills beat Calvin Franco. Oh, I will talk about that too. So there was a lot of transactions on Saturday before the races. So Bodie, as a captain, dropped himself and picked up Calvin Franco, who was a new guy, futures guy. But I will say this. So I saw a lot of comments about how can you drop yourself if you're a captain? Is Bodie still the captain of the team? You got to look at like Bodie is the owner of the team. He can choose to have himself race out of the 5 guys, or he can replace himself and have somebody else race. But just because he gives up a spot does not mean he gives up his team. So Bodie is still the captain of Bodie's team. He owns the team. So if he ever substitutes himself out, he's not a free agent to be picked up by anybody else. He's still on his own team. He still owns his own team. So what happened was he replaced himself with Calvin Franco. Murillo, who had dropped Birdman and picked up Dominator the week before, did vice versa. He dropped Dominator and picked up Birdman for this past Saturday. And then Brody Melton was released, dropped down, and Daddy Dave picked up Dominator. I don't know what happened with Brody. I haven't heard anything. I actually didn't really ask anybody about it either. I'm not sure if he just couldn't make the race or if he was told you were going to be dropped. I'm not sure what happened there. But all I know is Brody got dropped and Dominator got back in. The weird part about this whole thing is, so if you qualify let's say you're like, let's use like for example, let's talk about what happened between Birdman and Dominator the first time. So the very first time this happened, which was Virginia, Birdman had qualified himself for the Invitational. But that Saturday before the Invitational, he got dropped and replaced with Dominator. So that spot in the Invitational now becomes Dominator's spot in the Invitational. And Birdman would then, if he got signed, which he didn't, if he would have got signed, he would have to race his way in. And that's exactly what happened this week with Dominator. So Dominator was qualified for the Invitational for this past Saturday, but Murillo dropped him and picked up Birdman. So Birdman got Dominator's spot in the Invitational, and then Dominator got signed by Daddy Dave. So Dominator actually had to race his way in, which he did. And he got in. He actually won in the first round again. So Dominator's been running well. Sucks that he's getting released and signed and released, but it's kind of cool how it's going on. And it's kind of confusing at times. This whole season's been kind of confusing. I think now, I think I'm at a point now where I understand exactly what's going on as far as all the rules and everything. So it helps me with the stats. It helps me with posting the correct stuff. So, okay, so let's get back to who won. So Callie beat Kelvin Franco. Axeman beat Rich Bruder. Jeff Lutz got his first round win finally and beat Tony McKinney. Dominator beat Chuck 55. Lizzie Musey beat John Odom. John Owen's been on the struggle bus to start this year. A lot of bad luck has been going on. I talked to him every race. He's going to turn around. Him and Howe have a good program there. So I expect John Odom to get that car going and rolling and up to par. Got his shirt on today, John Odom shirt. So shout out to Odom. He's going to turn it around soon. Chuck beat Jim Howe in the first round. As you saw, Jim Howe had that bad crash. I've heard he is okay. And he's currently rebuilding the car. Not sure if it's going to be ready for this week or not. But Jim Howe is okay. Damon Merchant beat Kyle Canyon. Nate Saylor beat Birdman. Shout out to Nate. Giuseppe beat Manny. David Gates beat Marty Robinson. Kai Kelly beat B-Rad. Scott Taylor beat Greg Chandler. And Kayla Morton beat Larry Larson. Second round. Swanstrom beat Chuck. Scott Taylor beat David Gates. Callie Mills beat Dominator. Damon won again, beat Axeman. Giuseppe took out Robin Roberts. Kai Kelly beat Murdanova. Kayla Morton beat Jeff Lutz. And Lizzie beat Nate Saylor. Third round, final 8. Damon took out Giuseppe. Those two dudes are fast right now. Both have been in grade 8s. Both are towards the top in the team points. So those two dudes are fast. So they lined up in the third round. They had a really close race. Damon beat Giuseppe. Scott Taylor has been fast all year. He beat Callie Mills. Kai Kelly beat Swanstrom once again. Not sure if I gotta reach out to Kai. I gotta see what the head-to-head stats are now. I don't know if it's 10-4 now, Kai Kelly over Swanstrom, or if it's 2-0, because I know they want to start over. So either way, because the second time Kai's got him this year now. It's kind of a fun rivalry between them two. And then Kayla Morton beat Lizzie. The battle of the women. Kayla Morton beat Lizzie Musey, and they're both really fast, extremely fast. I think they're both in the top 5 this year. So that was an awesome race to see. That was only the second time they've ever raced in No Prep Kings. Kind of interesting. So the semifinals, Damon Merchant took out Scott Taylor. Kai Kelly took out Kayla Morton. And then for the finals, Kai Kelly beat Damon Merchant in a replay of last week, or the previous week. The only difference is this time they actually ran. It was Damon made it to the line, and everything went right for him, and they took off together. So it's cool, man. At this point right now, for the Saturday standings, Kai Kelly's in first with 120 points. Damon Merchant's in second with 100. Lizzie's in third with 70. And then there's a 3-way tie for fourth between Kayla, Scott, and Giuseppe. And then there's a 5-way tie for seventh between Gates, Axeman, Howe, Swanstrom, and Callie Mills. Those are your top 11, I believe. Yes, top 11. So those are the results from this past weekend. Surprises. I guess my surprises so far of this season are the guys who are struggling. Now, it's one thing to struggle one race or maybe a couple races, but the guys from the top 10 last year, there's 4 guys in the top 10 last year who are not doing so hot so far this year. Ryan, Dave, Lutz, and Jerry. As far as specifically Dave, Lutz, and Jerry. Those guys have gone very few rounds. And it's surprising that you usually see those guys make it rounds. They're always in the 3rd, 4th rounds of every race. And they just haven't been yet this year. Now it's still early. They still have a lot of time left. But I am surprised that all 3 of those are struggling. And surprised Ryan. I'm not surprised Ryan. And Ryan isn't struggling per se. He's just not at the dominant level he's been at, and what we come to expect every single race, right? He's still tied for first in the grade 8. He won the Outlaw Big Tire, so it's not like it's not like he didn't come out there, all weekend and just didn't race. Like he raced and he did well, and he won 3 races in the Outlaw Big Tire. So I wouldn't count. First of all, I wouldn't count Ryan out at all. I'm just a little surprised that he's not as dominant as he has been. But what Kai Kelly knows and what Ryan knows is that when you win a race, you're only getting 10 more points than the guy who took second. And 10 points ain't much. It's 1 round. So Kai Kelly's got this early lead. Ryan's had early leads. And as we see every single season, the championship can still be won at the last race. So there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of racing left. Kai has been by far the most fast guy, most consistently fast person out there by far, all three events so far this year. But I'm a little surprised, especially with Dave, Lutz, and Jerry. Jerry's got a new car. Lutz, I heard, has actually Jerry and Dave have new cars, so they could be doing some new car blues. Lutz, apparently his car has not been right since it came back from Australia. So those guys are struggling, but they got time yet. They still got 10 races left. So guys I'm not surprised with. At this point in the season, I'm not surprised anymore that Damon's fast. I'm not surprised that he's up there anymore, right? After the Virginia race, like, wow, I'm surprised Damon did that well. Well, he came back and did the exact same thing and made it to the finals again. So there's no more Damon ain't gonna catch anybody by surprise anymore. He's legitimately fast. And there's two other guys that are legitimately fast that I'm not surprised anymore by either, and that's David Gates and Giuseppe. I've seen those guys all 3 weeks now be in the top tier of the fast guys. So those are 3 guys, Damon, Gates, and Giuseppe, who are the ones to watch out for at this point if you're anybody else. They really are. And 2 of them are running Pro Charger, and 1 of them is running Nitrous. So with those guys, I'm not surprised, and they are the guys to look out for right now. I mentioned Odom before. He's my overreaction. So I think what is he? Not won a race yet? I don't think he's won a race yet. No, but he's had some issues, man. I don't even know if he's made a full hit yet, honestly, as far as in an event that counts, in a race that counts. But I won't overreact about him being bad this year. I think How and him together have a really good program. How's been doing pretty good. So I just expect for John to get the kinks out. And I expect John to be fasting. I expect him to go around soon. So my overreaction would be Odom. I don't think it's time to write him off just yet. So let's talk about the upcoming race. It's in Kentucky. What I wanted to discuss, first of all, I'll try to take your questions in a little bit, Scott. What's up, Edward? How you doing? So what I wanted to do, hey, Bob Rice, what's up, man? It was nice meeting you. Finally met you in person, man. What I want to do for everybody that's still confused is explain the best I can the grade 8 format and points and the invitational format and points. Okay. Now, without trying to confuse myself here, I'm going to try to explain the format and points. So let's think about it this way. The grade 8 is on Friday and the invitational is on Saturday. Think of it as two legitimately separate events, okay? When it comes to the points, they do not correlate with each other when it comes to the points. They have their own point system. So the grade A is 10 points to win, 7 points runner-up, 3 points for semifinals. That's your point system. Invitational is 10 points for making it in the invitational, and then 10 points for every round you advance, with a max of 60 points if you win it. Okay? The grade A points do not count with the invitational points, and vice versa. The invitational points do not count with the grade A points. They do not go together. They're not. They're two separate entities. Okay? The winner of the grade A at the end of the year, the guy with the most points in the grade 8, will be called your individual champion. The guy or the team that earns the most points on Saturday will be called your team champion. Okay, now let's explain the points for the invitational. Your team points, I've seen a lot of questions online and stuff like this. So for your team of 5 guys, it is all 5 of your guys' points count on a Saturday. It's not the top 3 on your team, it is all 5. So if everybody goes out in the first round, that's 10 points for each driver. Your total team points for that day would be 50 points. 5 times 10, 50 points. All right. It's not the top 3, not who does your best on your team that Saturday. Your whole team of 5 count for the total points on Saturday. Okay. Now, the weird part, and I think this is where people are getting most confused about, is how you qualify for both the grade 8 and how you qualify for the invitational. The qualification is also separate of each other. Okay. How you qualify for the invitational, is race your way in. Now, there's different ways to do it, and Street Outlaws does it their own way. And to this day, I don't know exactly how they come about how they do it, but basically they pick a certain number of guys that are automatically in it based on how many points. The top, if you look at the points right now, it looks like they will take the top 19 people. So the top 19 people all have 30 points. Okay. They're automatically in the invitational for the next round, for next race. And then the rest of the field, so that's 19. So the other 21 guys or 20, I'm sure what they'll do is they'll do a chip draw to see who gets the 20th spot. So they'll have 20 guys automatically in the invitational, and the other 20 guys will race off. You race one round. If you win, you're in. If you lose, there's always a couple more spots that they have to fill for the invitational because they got to get 32. So they fill those with a chip draw. So how you get the invitational is if you're in the top so many in points, team points, that is, on Saturday points. Otherwise, you're in the race your way in. If you're in the race your way in, you win one round and you're in. That's how it was too. But the first time around, Tim, it was 16. Last week it was 16 we're in. 16 we're in, and then 24 race their way in. So it's based on how many guys are tied and stuff like that. I don't know the exact number. I don't know how they do it, but that's how they race your way in. They pick a certain number of guys that are automatically in. The rest of the guys got to race their way in. If you win, you're in. If you don't win, there's usually a chip draw to fill like the last 2 or 4 spots. That's how it's been so far. So, hey, Adam Jennings, how you doing, man? Now, how you qualify for the grade 8 is different. Okay, the top 8 on Saturdays in points. So the top 8 in the team points. Okay, they are your top 8 for the grade 8 at the next race. It is not the top 8 from the previous race. It is total points. So it's just like last year. Every race last year, whoever were the top 8 in standings, in the point standings, were the grade 8, were the top 8 for your grade 8 the next week. I saw a lot of misconceptions about how it's the previous 8, the top 8 from the previous race. It's not the previous race. It's total points, where you are in the standings on Saturday. So grade 8, individual. Saturday is team, but it's also qualifying for the grade 8, which is the individual. Okay. So hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. It is very confusing. It took me a minute. Not sure why they're doing it this way, but that's the way they're doing it. So grade 8 separate, than the Invitational. The points do not cross over. Qualifying does not cross over. You just on Saturdays you're racing for your team, and you're also racing to try to get in the grade 8. That's what you're doing. That's what every driver is doing on Saturday at the Invitational. Race for your team points and race for yourself. So, and then kind of look at it like a qualifying. You're qualifying on Saturday for the grade 8 as well. So then when the grade 8 comes, then you're 100% racing for yourself. So hopefully that clears everything up. I tried to not confuse myself on that because it can get confusing. So if we look at the grade 8, who could be in the grade 8 this week, or who should be? It'll be the top 8 in points. But like every week in the beginning of the season, what a way to root any legitimacy for the series. So the top 8 that should be going, but like I was saying, I started reading and got sidetracked. So like every week in the beginning of the season, the points are all so close together that there's a lot of ties and there's a lot of chip draws that have to determine stuff. So the grade 8 for sure for this Friday will be Kai Kelly, Damon Merchant, Lizzie Musi, Kayla Morton, Scott Taylor, and Giuseppe Gentile. So that's 6 guys. To fill the other 2 spots, there are 5 guys tied. Those guys are David Gates, Axman, Jim Howe, Swanstrom, and Callie Mills. So those 5 will draw chips, and only 2 of those 5 will make the grade 8 for this week. So as we get through the season, the points will scatter, and there'll be less chip draws. But as of right now, a lot of people are tied with points because it's early in the season. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that. So that's the grade 8. And then the Invitational, how I see it, how I think it'll be is there are 19 people who have 30 points or more. Okay, so I think what they'll do is those 19 will be in the Invitational for sure, qualify already. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more guys that are tied for 20th or tied for 20th place. There's 8 guys tied at 20th place. So to keep it even, because I don't think they want to have a bye to get an Invitational. I think they want to just chip draw, which means one of those 8 guys will get an automatic bid into the Invitational as well. So then you have 20 guys in the Invitational, and then you have another 20 guys who are not in that'll race. So you should have it should be a 20 car, race your way in. Everybody wins one. If you win one round, you're in. So that'll be 10 more people in. So that'll be 30 people total. And then the final 10 people will chip draw for those last 2 spots. Why couldn't they just make the points you earn on Saturday be your individual points? I don't know, man. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's the way they did it. And that's the way I understand it. And now that everybody can understand it, now you can strategize of who's doing what, who can do well, stuff like that. So that's who I think will be in the Invitational. Will be the top 20, the top 19. They'll chip draw for the 20th spot, and then I think there'll be a 20 car race your way in. I think that's how it goes. Don't quote me on that though. A couple stats for this week. Ryan Martin is a defending winner in Kentucky. So last year in Kentucky and Bowling Green, where they're at, Ryan Martin won the Invitational. And on a side note, he also won the grade 8. So he double dipped that weekend. Obviously, he won't be in the grade 8 this weekend, but he could definitely race his way in on Friday night, on Saturday, and he could win an Invitational. So if I were you, I wouldn't count Ryan Martin out yet. He's the 3-time defending champion for a reason. So, and then he is the defending Kentucky winner. He won there last year. And I want to give a special shout out to Swanstrom. Swanstrom, in only his 3rd year, this is the beginning of his 3rd year, he's already 5th all-time in round wins of all the seasons, all time. He's 5th in round wins with 87, and he only needs 13 more, which he'll get this year to reach 100 wins already. I've been announcing who else has 100 wins. Obviously, Ryan's Ben had 100 wins. Kai's well over 100. But so far this year, Lizzie and Scott Taylor both surpassed 100 round wins. and Swanstrom is the next guy to do it. He's at 87. So shout out to Swanstrom for only being a couple seasons in, man. He is doing awesome. And his car came around a little bit last week, so I expect good things out of him moving forward. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Hopefully, I didn't confuse you more with the points. You just got to think grade 8 is separate than the Invitational. 2 separate events, 2 different points, all that stuff. The only thing that's connected is you have to qualify for the grade 8 by doing good in the Invitational. If that makes any sense. So if anybody's got any questions, let's do some questions. Let's talk about some things. Who do you think is going to win this week? Who's the guy to pick? Mr. Topol, how you doing, buddy? Hope to see you out there soon, man. Hope you get that car done soon. Donald Scruggs, what's up, man? Kai, everybody thinks Kai's going to win again. There we go, Ryan. Vote for Ryan. Man, Scooter's going to get it. He's going to get it this year. I know I say it every single year. I'm like, Scott Taylor's going to win a race this year. I know he is. I say it every year. It hasn't happened yet. But Scott is looking really consistent. He's looking really fast. I think Scott's going to get one of these weeks. Scott Taylor's going to win an event, and it's going to be awesome. So just like Jerry's was last year. Jerry got his first event win finally. That was a really cool moment for him. I think it's going to happen to Scott. Scott's been so damn close. Every single week, Scott's race good. So, plus, side note, Scott is doing well tuning Bobby's car too. Bobby's gone some rounds this year as well. So, shout out to him. Do you think Murder Nova will ever win an Invitational? Yeah, why not? I mean, I think this year, if you've noticed anything this year, is that specifically Murder Nova's looking fast. I don't know if he's got his new combination, and he's looking fast, really fast. And there's just so many fast guys. And the biggest thing, it used to be like an elite group of fast drivers who were going to probably win every week, a handful of people. It's not like that anymore. Now it's about consistency, and really it's about chip draw. It's about getting lucky with your chip draws, and it's about being consistent. That's what it's going to come down to. I asked you that question about Team Cats dropping themselves, and Bodie was only one of the captains that thought their ego wasn't too big to do it. Yeah, so that's the thing, though. It's not really dropping yourself. You're just replacing yourself for that week. You're not like dropping yourself off the team. That would be a totally different thing if Bodie relinquished his captain duties and he was a free agent. That would be something totally different. All Bodie did was replace himself for that week. I think Bodie's going to be back this week, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Dave's been really close. No, Dave's been making the trips. Dave's close. He's still figuring his brand new car out. So I have not heard anything about if he's going to make it. I know obviously he's going to try. I know it looked like they're going to have to maybe front half the whole car, probably, based on what I saw in the pictures. So I know he took it right to the chassis guy right away. Yeah, remember Tao does have another car as well if he needed to race that. So I'll be there. Just not sure which car he'll be racing, but let's hope for the No Prep Kings car, because Tao's really fast right now. Always been fast. So yeah, I know exactly, Tim. Tao's definitely going to be racing. Just don't know which car is going to be. Bodie's back running. That's good to hear. I figured it was only be 1 week that Bodie would be off. Yeah, Kev. Mike is showing signs of being fast, right? Mike's just having some motor issues and stuff like that, but he's looking really fast too. Man, I swear, man, this year everybody's so fast. Really is. There's only a few people that are struggling, seems like. And then some of those people are the guys who usually don't struggle. So what size tire is Big Tire Racing class? This year it's 34.5 inch. Last year it was unlimited, but I think it was limited to 36. But a lot of the guys last year ran 36s. Some ran 34.5s. David Gates, Damon. Yeah, man, they're all fast guys. It's gonna be a hell of a race again this week. So pretty much you have to win or runner up in the Invitational get in the grade eight. Not necessarily. I mean, as of right now, the grade eight people for sure are Kai, Damon, Lizzie, Kayla, Scott, Giuseppe. I mean, Giuseppe, Scott, no, Giuseppe and Lizzie haven't been to a finals yet. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, you got to have a lot of points. You got to go rounds. The grade eight is exactly like it was last year. It's the top eight in points. So last year was based on the invitational. The only difference is last year the points combined with each other. This year they don't combine. So rank his tires look like 33s. I don't know what size he's running. He might be running a 33. I'm not sure. I don't have the exact stats because obviously they don't post the times. But I've been told that some guys are running very similar times who were on 36s last year to now being on 34 and a half. So they're running very, very similar times. So I don't think it's slowed down. Don't think it's slowed down much. Giuseppe is fast. Yeah, Giuseppe is fun to watch, man. He is so fast this year. Paige seems to be coming along. I've seen her race a couple times in the futures. The future class, obviously, with this year, with all the futures being from last year being in the invitational now, the future class very, very small. I think it was so small this past week they let some of the veterans race in the future class. I don't remember who did it, but no, the drivers do not get a time slip, Donald. But a lot of them have draggies in their car, so it's not 100% accurate, but it gives them a pretty good idea of how fast they're going. How many rounds does Ryan have to go to make the grade eight? Well, I don't know if Ryan can make the. If Ryan wins the whole thing, he'll get 60 points, and right now he has 10, so he would have 70 points. So it's possible he could get in the grade eight, but people like Kayla, Scott, Taylor, Giuseppe, they would have to get very little points to none. So it's possible for Ryan to get into the grade eight, but Ryan definitely has to start by winning the whole event first on Saturday. Hey Julie, how you doing? We're a little posted three. Posted three what? Posted three of his time slips? Mike said he had a 204 pass, 204 miles an hour. He's got twin turbos, so to be that fast at the end, I'm sure. 392 at 204. Oh, I mean, that's not quite as fast as the top guys are running last year, but it's getting there. Um, that's close though. It's really close. So that's good, man. I figured it wouldn't be long before most of the guys would be running the same speed they were last year. Every year they advance, every year they progress, every year they get better, they figure stuff out. Technology gets better. They figure stuff out. So the smaller tires, I should say. I mean, some of the guys were running 34 and a half last year. Like Lutz ran a 34 and a half last year. He won an event. So I'm guessing that slip was from testing, I would think. Yes, for sure. Without as fast, Bucci is as fast as this field is, the farther you fall behind. Like, man, like if some of these guys don't get in it now, don't start earning some points now, it's going to be a long season for them. They'll never see themselves in the grade eight. They'll never see a chance at the individual championship. So, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to get halfway through or three-quarters way through the season, and people are going to know they have no chance at individual. So there's going to be racing for the team, which is a good thing too. So I'm glad they're doing the team championship too, because as you know, last year, cool stat for you. So last year there was 14 different guys raced in the grade eight. Only 14 different guys. Already this year, there's been 14 different people racing the grade eight. So the number of grade A people are going to increase this year for sure. It's just how the format works. There'll be more people with more chances at the grade A. But you also don't want to get behind though. Once you're behind, you won't have a chance with the grade A. Like I said, Ryan, at this point, Ryan has to win a race on Saturday and hope for other people to not do well just to get into the grade A. So it could be weeks before Ryan gets in the grade A, even if he wins. So B-Rad ran a 34.5 inch last year. My real name is Chris. But most people call me Stat Guy. I'm gonna make a little clip from this live feed too. Just like explain the format in case people who miss it. Because I've been seeing a lot of comments to this day. People are still messaging me, asking me, yeah, stats. There you go. People have been messaging me, asking me about the points and all that stuff. So, how does it make sense if he wins? He won't because he hasn't acquired enough points yet. Who is next on my show? I'm not sure. Who did I have? 2 weeks ago, I had on Damon. This week, I had David Gates. I don't know. I'm just going to reach out. I'll reach out to pretty much what I've been doing, reaching out to a couple people who did well on that weekend, and see if they're busy. I know you got to remember, all these guys travel. They have jobs. They have to fly. They have to work on their cars. There's something wrong with them from the previous race. So it's really tough to get people nailed down. But I have a relationship with most of them. So pretty much every week, what I usually do is on Sundays, I'll contact a couple of them to see if they want to come on during the week. Usually I'll contact the guys who've done well on the previous race, so we have something to talk about. But I did talk to Reaper in Ohio, and hopefully we can do a live feed sometime in the future. Nate Saylor's really fast. He's right there. And the races he's lost, he's been so close, and he's racing fast. I don't know who he's lost to exactly. I think he lost to Giuseppe once, but the guys he's racing are really fast too. So, miss you out there, Adam, man. You got to at least go to a couple races this year. Maybe I'll see. I'm for sure gonna go. I'm gonna go to the Texas race, the last race of the year. I'll be there. I know I'm. Hopefully, meet you there. Right, Donald. Exactly. If Ryan wins the event, he'd have 70 points. But as of right now, that would place him tied with Lizzie. So he'd be third or fourth place in the grade 8, even if he wins the whole event. And that's if everybody else got 0 points. So Kayla would have to get 0. Scott, I mean, even if Ryan wins the race, he's probably not going to be in the grade 8 the following week. But winning the race is a good start for him. That's what he needs to do. Petty? I mean, like Steve Petty or who? I'm sure that's what you're talking about. Do I think Doc will get picked up? I'm not sure. I'm not sure of any of the veterans. I mean, Doc's like is he the only one that's been showing up and not getting picked? Because I haven't seen Will Hoyt. I don't think I've seen Super Dave after Ohio. Doc's been there every week, though. Good, Adam. Hopefully I'll see you at one so I can at least meet you, man. Appreciate you coming on my show. Dave, your new car is almost ready? No, I've been seeing it online. The updates to it. Oh, perfect. There you go. Dave Atkins, Super Dave, will be back with his new car in Tulsa. That's awesome. Get Dave back in the mix. I'm not sure what happened there, Jonathan. My assumption was that Birdman's car wasn't running right. So to get some more team points, he dropped him and picked up Dom to see if Dom could get him some points. That's the other thing too. So if you drop a guy, like say dominated races for Mike's team one weekend and he earns them 10 points or 20 points, even if he drops them the following week, those points stay with Mike. So far, Dom has earned points for Mike and for Daddy Dave. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you, man. You don't have to do that. You know you don't have to do that, man. But I appreciate it. I can't see him because when I go live on Facebook and YouTube, I can't see who gives me stars or nothing, but I do appreciate you. Thank you, sir. All right, guys. I think that's it for questions. I'm going to do this recap show every week. I think it goes good. I also take this video and post it on YouTube. So if you can't catch the whole thing, if you want to rewatch it to find out the more confusing format that I went through, you can do that. Oh yeah, Reaper's there every week too. Forgot about Reaper, man. Reaper's been there every single week too. I think at some point Reaper and Doc and Super Dad, I think all those guys will get a shot in the Invitational. I think they will. Yeah, remember it's about consistency, and some of these other teams, either cars are not going to live up to what they need to be, and teams are just going to get tired of them not winning every week, and they'll try somebody new, or cars are going to start breaking at some point and they're not going to be able to fix them. So it'll work out for those guys, I believe. So thank you all for coming on again. Hopefully I have answered some of your questions, and I will see you guys again next week. Here's to a good weekend of racing. See you guys.